Okay, I feel like I may know your answer to this, which may be I don't care about these people. But how do you feel about the whole Kanye Kim situation, where how he handled her dating someone else, even though he had been dating like a bunch of girls anyway before they got divorced?
Once mine, always mine. Kim ain't got no business out there doing that shit.
Doing what he's doing. Okay.
Nah,
because he's acting like the
Kanye's beta.
Yeah.
That's beta. Kanye was doing some straight up beta behavior. Because you got to understand this. You cannot negotiate genuine desire. Mm-hmm. So if a woman don't want you anymore, you're done. That's it. Just accept it. It's acceptance.
He already moved on. Well, not moved on, but
that nigga's a child.
Right.
We talked about our community. Our men are more immature than we give our credit for. We are not raised to be men. We are raised to be adult boys. A lot of us. And that's the part we have to understand is like, if we've never seen a masculine male role model, how the fuck are we gonna know to be one? You know what I'm saying? So what we have to do is find find out what masculinity actually even means to us. Because depending on who you ask for the term.
Like, you create this bond that you're able to go back and forth because you're giving each other's perspective. You're not trying to prove the other person wrong. I've learned, and I've said it many times on this show before, if I'm in a conversation and I'm trying to prove that person wrong, where do we go once I figure out that you're right?
Roll me, Mac.
What's more important to you, healthy boundaries or having people in your life to not feel alone? Well, they give away, of course, healthy boundaries, but let's explain why. The reason why I would rather be alone and have healthy boundaries is more so the level of treatment that comes when you keep people around you that don't value you. And I talk about it all the time, I spent years trying to gain the approval of the friends I had in the neighborhood growing up, the people that I met in the Air Force, the people that I were around at work, and it got me essentially nowhere. And what was it all about, really? What was I trying to gain? That's a quiet ego game that plays in the back of your mind when you feel like you're not enough. So let's become something else to prove that we are enough. And I love finding out who I am each day. I'm not gonna say I love being me, because me is a very fluid concept. But I love finding out who I am each day. And for those people that understand that, they stay in their life. And for those who don't, like, get down with what the fuck I'm doing, then something happens in the universe and they end up leaving. I love when it happens, because the lesson is taught, and then it's time to move on to what's to come. Life is constantly evolving. The friends we had, some of us have had friends since we were like, young, like elementary school. You're fortunate enough to have something like that. But for the most of us, man, you're constantly, everything's constantly evolving. So what I like to do is just embrace the unpredictable. Honestly, understanding that I tell myself every day to live by no attachment. That's easier said than done, but no expectations, no entitlement, no ego. What I've learned is that when I exercise that, I don't try to create things in my mind for this particular person. I don't create a scene with this person in my movie, as I like to put it, that they don't even know about. You know what I'm saying? You got this person already doing you dirty on this end, and they're doing something over here. But truth be told, even if they were, it has nothing to do with you. Everybody's living their own life, and that's just how it goes. But I would definitely prefer to have healthy boundaries and be alone than be around people, for the simple fact that I don't want to be alone. Because I don't like the respect that goes out the door just by keeping people that don't value you in there, and seeing what it does to people, seeing people that you love be mistreated because they refuse to be alone, and they'll just allow a person to talk to them just any kind of way in front of other people that value them. I prefer my solitude if need be, because I have peace when it's just me. So if I'm around you and I still don't have that peace, God in the universe is trying to tell me something. And I believe God in the universe is trying to tell you something, or whoever the hell you pray to, is trying to tell you something. Whoever you look to for spiritual guidance, like that feeling you get. I don't like when I'm around people, man, and I just get that eerie feeling. I feel drained, like seconds into a conversation with them, just based off of how they talk to me. I love talking to people who give life when they talk. Don't get me wrong, we all go through shit. It's all about how you tell your story. You can tell your story like an observer, you can tell your story like a victim, and I've been on both sides of the coin. I got off trying to get it was attention-seeking behavior. I got off trying to look like the victim and make myself look like the victim, thinking that it was going to give me what I wanted. Because that's the same tactic I used when I was a kid, and if no one teaches you that, of course you're going to use the same shit you did when you was a kid. That's anything. Anything you've been doing since you were a kid and did not know and did not learn a new way of doing that shit, you still doing it. Like, a lot of us are still acting like fucking kids on little shit, you know what I'm saying? Passive aggressive in some ways, just hold the mirror up to ourselves, and the accountability mirror, as David Goggins coins it, the accountability mirror, just to look at yourself and be like, oh, okay, that was about attention. That was about getting their attention. That was about getting your parents' attention. That's about getting your family's attention. That's about getting your girl's attention, your man's attention, whatever. Because you're whole by yourself. You're whole by yourself. So to be around people, let's just say, if indeed you do feel this way, this person is not giving you the love, the treatment that you need, and they just keep doing the same shit. But you stay right there. You are, as they say, you can only be the victim once, and after that you are a volunteer. So you're choosing every day to stay in something that makes you feel less than what you feel like you are worth. You know what I mean? Like, that's a choice. That's a choice you're making. And I know some people got families and they want to stay in a relationship because they got kids and they need help with kids, whatever the situation is, but it's a choice. And every choice comes with a consequence, right? And the level of respect, having people around you that don't value you, is a price not worth paying, to me. I just, I sit there and just wait. And I'm just, very observant. And it's like hypersensitive, if you will, trauma response. I don't give a fuck. I own what the fuck I do, okay? But recognizing when somebody does not value you, right? So when you feel that way, and I'm not talking about like, attention-wise. We're talking about literally treatment of how they talk to you. If they treat you like that annoying little brother that's trying to play with you in your room type shit, like, nah, then to me, that person does not, that's not valuing somebody. Why have people around that you really don't want around? It's okay that you don't fuck with me. Just tell me that you don't fuck with me. That's how I see it. We can end a lot of conversations, unnecessary events, unnecessary situations if we're straight up. I don't fuck with you anymore, or I don't fuck with you, whatever it is. But to be like, oh man, I gotta go to this event with old girl or old boy, you know what I'm saying? You don't sound too enthused. Is this a requirement? It's not a work function, is it? It's by choice then. So, again, that's just, I don't know. Just our fear of trying to hurt somebody's feelings is actually hurting ourselves. I heard a quote this week. It was like, neglect hurts you first. You know what I'm saying? So it's like when you are around someone and you're tolerating a certain behavior from them and you just keep taking it on and just because whatever reason, like it's normal to you. That's something maybe that you saw growing up in childhood, or it's familiar. It's it's familiar to you. So you tolerate it. Doesn't necessarily mean it's best for you. It just means it's familiar to you. So it's like learning to break cycles and ask yourself, how the fuck do you feel when you're around this person? How do you feel when they say this thing? You know what I'm saying? Like if they're saying shit for attention seeking, they're trying to be validated. And when you respond to their bullshit, you give them exactly what they want. But the thing is, your presence is a present. So removing yourself, they no longer have that audience. You know what I'm saying? Like a comedian cannot thrive without an audience. So when somebody is hurling insults at you, either you don't respond to it or you just remove yourself, there's no way that they can get what they want. When a person's hurling insults, obviously, you can take it as, one way to take it is that they're filled up with so much pain and they're projecting it. And it has to go somewhere. So why not you? Like you're an easy punching bag. You're not gonna say anything. You're not gonna do anything. I'm gonna keep coming back and I'm gonna keep punching the fuck out of you. But if you can find the courage inside yourself to be like, you know what? If I create healthy boundaries, I might be alone, but at least I'll have peace. I don't have to watch my back and worry about if this person's gonna do some fuck shit over here or they're gonna say some fuck shit. Like, to me, I can go on about my fucking day without them in my life. And I'm telling you, your peace is everything, man. The older you get, the more you realize how much you just crave peace, man. Like for me, I don't need to be where the scene is, man. I don't want that no more. I just want peace, man. I want to be around folks that like to, like to have a good time, but not at the expense of us dying or going, getting in unnecessary quarrels with insecure people who want to prove something. Have something to prove. Like fighting, to me, fighting past 30 is, it has to be very necessary. I'm not going to say there's never a time to fight by any means, but like just people that's just looking to get into dumb shit, I ain't for it, bro. Like, it's just like, cut that shit out, man. We too old for that shit, dog. Like, honestly, like what example are we setting by doing so? That's no shame. I'm just saying that I did what I prefer. I prefer to not get involved in no shit like in anything like that is my thing. But yeah, healthy boundaries will save your life. Honestly, it'll save your life. It'll save the drama. that you can avoid. Honestly, you can control. The only thing you can control is your part in anything, right? You're not able to control anybody else. So if you know that they got fuck shit going on over there, and you go to fuck shit fest, who else can you blame when you end up in fuck shit? So it's understanding that they've already shown you what the hell they're about. It's up to you now to continue on if you want to go into that, man. And just like I said, I just prefer the peace. I'll just take the peace, man. And once you recognize that somebody is still fighting a demon, from the past that keeps them wanting to get into unnecessary shit to prove themselves, man, you gotta make a decision. You gotta make a decision if you're gonna sit in the peace, or you're gonna have to grab a piece, to get down with the get down. And just unfortunate. I mean, there's plenty of people that have literally lost their lives over disagreements, unnecessary disagreements, over shit that could have been talked out. A conversation could have saved lives. That's how important healthy conversation is. It literally can save a life. You think about the situations where people were taken out through senseless violence. And if they were to have a conversation and sat down like adults and not respond like an undeveloped child in the mind, where would they be? Their families, I'm sure, would still want them to be here. All in all, I prefer healthy boundaries than being around people who will not, who don't respect me, or don't know how to respect me, rather. And just because I don't want to feel alone. So I'm good with my solitude. Do you think it's possible to stay in the honeymoon phase forever? No. I mean, it's a phase. Literally, that's what it's in the fucking term. It's just a phase, so it's going to phase out. It's going to fade out. But what I believe, and granted, I am no relationship expert by any means of the sort. I am learning this shit as I go along and seeing what I find to be effective and what I find to not be effective for me, per se. I won't speak on anybody else. I'm not here to say right and wrong. You're living your life right, you're living your life wrong. I'm merely talking about a perspective. Anything I say, understand this. If it's not trivial or has anything to do with facts about me, there is no right and wrong for me. It is merely just perspective. Let's go ahead and get that out the way. But the honeymoon phase, what you do, the best way I can put that is rewording it to be like, how do you keep from letting the fire die, right? In a relationship, of course, an intimate relationship. So what that means is creating intimacy, right? Now, what we're talking about now is foreplay, okay? And foreplay is not just a typical, kissing on the neck, sucking on titties, whatever, nibbling on whatever shit, Yes, we're graphic here on this on this show. Deal with it or change the channel, however you want to put it. But what I'm saying in foreplay is conversation. Now, conversation is going to require a little bit, not a lot of it, but a little bit of vulnerability. And mainly coming from that of us men. Because, in my experience, a woman is more inclined to tell you her life story once she feels safe. Now, for us, because of what we deal with, because of what society has put upon us to not let down so many walls and share our story with women, it's something in us that is like, nah, we're not gonna give everything. You know what I'm saying? And rightfully so, not to give everything. But to even just show just a little bit, it can create a conversation. Now, once you create a conversation with someone, now having healthy conversation is a form of intimacy because it bonds. You have a sense of relating to something that you've gone through. You know what I'm saying? What I love about the people that follow this platform, if you've seen it more than once, more than likely you've related to something that I've shared. We have some form of bonding. If I've never met you before, you're watching this, if I've known you a lot of my life and you still watch this shit, we are bonded. You know what I'm saying? Maybe not, you know what I'm saying? Not so much in this foreplay, what I'm getting to, but we have bonded because of the vulnerability that's given in said conversation. Now, what I'm saying is that when you're able to master conversation as a man, to be able to give up a little bit of vulnerability, enough that creates this dialogue between you and said woman or said man, whatever your vice is, like you create this bond that you're able to go back and forth because you're giving each other's perspective. You're not trying to prove the other person wrong. I've learned, and I've said it many times on this show before, if I'm in a conversation and I'm trying to prove that person wrong, where do we go once I figure out that you're right or that I'm right? The conversation ends. But if we continue to talk, right, and we give each other's perspective, we can go back and forth. It's like an essay question in college. We can just keep adding stuff to it. The subject matter, we can get different takes on things. And I find that to be a way of creating intimacy, right? Healthy conversation, to be able to show a side of you that some may not even have guessed that you would have that. And it very well depends on the people. Now, I'm very mindful about who I share shit with in person. Now, on my platform, I don't give a fuck. Whatever, you say what you want to say, I ain't gotta hear you. But in person, the people that I tend to like to be in conversation with are people, one, are about peace, and also who can relate and continue on the conversation. Those who really want to learn, you know what I mean? Like to learn from different perspectives, man. Honestly, I believe if we were to engage in conversation with said mindset, and I mean, you can try that with anybody, like just being in the airport, just being able to relate, not going in with your cup full, but coming in with something to give to a conversation, but also being there to listen, you would go a lot further. You know what I mean? Like being able, like, who's going to want to listen to you if you're not going to want to listen to them, number one. So going in believing that you have everything figured out is the recipe for disaster in a conversation. It's going to put people on the defense. And I believe a conversation is about making a person feel welcomed at home, to be themselves, to give their thoughts on things, and to not have judgment upon what they say. Personally, that's just me. That's how I try to engage. But I say all that to say, for the honeymoon phase, to be able to create that intimacy in conversation, I'm now stimulating your mind. Now I'm on your mind, and I'm just not something that you find to be physically attractive. Now I am tapping into being mentally attractive, maybe even spiritually attractive, depending on the conversation, and then eventually emotionally attractive. So once you stir all that up, when intercourse or sex, becomes involved, all of that is right there. All those forms of intimacy are right there in that moment. The transfer of energy that is going on in that situation, I believe that is how you can essentially create a honeymoon phase. I believe that's how you can keep the fire going, or what would deem to be like a honeymoon phase. It's not to say that you're not going to go through things. Of course, you're going to go through things, but it's about being very, very mindful that you have to maintain, as a man, you have to maintain your masculine frame, right? And also, it's very vital, I believe, for a woman to be very mindful, keeping her feminine energy when she's with trusted masculine energy in a trusted masculine frame. Very key what I just said, right? I'm not expecting a woman to just be so vulnerable with just any man, but carry yourself with that feminine energy wherever you go. You don't have to be as vulnerable as you might be with the one that you deem to be that trusted masculine frame. But if you're looking to attract a masculine man, then operating in your feminine is going to be your best bet, in my opinion. Because if you carry yourself like a person who does not need help, you're going to attract the man that needs help. But, and this is not to say that you're not able to handle your own, but you don't mind allowing a man to lead. Doing that, you're going to attract a man that loves to lead, which takes pressure off of you, takes it off of your shoulders, and essentially you form an alliance, a team, you know what I'm saying, with that person. And it's keeping in mind the roles. And you know, you want to think that the roles don't matter, whatever, you know, we're 50-50. Do what works for you. Do what works for you. As for me and how I carry my shit, there is no 50-50. You know what I'm saying? I'm in charge of this thing that's going on. I'm going to ensure that the woman that decides to enter my frame is going to be taken into consideration on how she feels on things, but ultimately I am going to have the last say so, because it is going to fall on me anyway when it all falls down. You know what I'm saying? So it's best I go ahead and be in charge and have an idea of how this thing is going to roll, if indeed I'm going to be the one to take the blame for the shit anyway. That's just my mentality. You know what I mean? You can call it misogyny, you call it whatever you want to call it, toxic masculinity. I believe in men leading. I do. And I also believe in allowing a woman to feel safe enough to be in her feminine energy around me, and not taking advantage of her being in her feminine energy around me, not tearing her down in front of me. If anything, allowing her to feel fucking safe. The little girl that she used to be before she had to put on, you know, that protective shield in this world worthy of needing protection, because it's tough. This world ain't shit. Honestly, grateful to have life, but there's a lot of people with pain in this motherfucking world, and because they've been through shit, they don't have a problem putting that shit on you. So be very mindful when you're around that energy, and remove your ass off gate. You know what I'm saying? Remove your ass off gate. Get away from people who project their pain. Avoid the unhappy and the unlucky. Robert Greene has told us this in the 48 Laws of Power. Avoid the unhappy and the unlucky like your life depends upon it, because it fucking does. So, getting back to the honeymoon phase. Do I believe that you can be in the honeymoon phase forever? No. The short answer is no. However, what are ways to keep the fire going? You keep the fire going by creating intimacy. And intimacy, I believe healthy conversation does that. I believe, flirtatious conversation does that. I believe content, we're in a digital age, sharing content with, individual you're involved with. I believe that's helpful to do so. You know what I'm saying? If you're not really big on the whole just being all right, just nasty with with yourself and all that stuff. But say some women love a good graphic novel. So learn how to speak this way and create that fantasy, create the imagination with the person that you deem, that you trust to do said thing with. What I would say is helping to create that so-called honeymoon phase forever. But just keeping the fire, right? Keeping the fire, learning to listen in conversation and try not to talk over. I know we get excited. I have to remind myself from time to time to be very mindful when in conversation, not to talk over somebody, and just being able to listen like a therapist, like a healthy therapist. Just sit there and listen. And then when there's open space, to be able to add, like say your piece in the conversation, or even offer, advice once it's asked for. But do I believe the honeymoon phase can last forever? No, I don't. song could you listen to on repeat forever? I have two. I have two that I can play forever and never, ever get tired of. Number one, Can You Stand the Rain by New Edition. Just so people know a fun fact, I play that every episode while I'm setting up, while I'm doing all the artwork, like recording for all the artwork so I can find the right frame to take to become what is the artwork. I ask Echo Dot to play that song. So I'd say New Edition's Can You Stand the Rain. It doesn't matter which version, Under the Lamppost version, and then there's the LP version that everyone knows on the radio, seen the video and all that stuff. Number two would be Future's Mask Off. And I know it can come off as hypocritical because I do not fuck with Future. But, however, it was my cousin's wedding, right? Back in 2018. And my cousin, another one of my cousins kept playing Mask Off on fucking repeat. And I was like, I just love this fucking song. And I don't even know what's being said. But, or what the song's even about. But I'm a producer first with my ears. So I love the sample in general. But, I love Mask Off. And then New Edition's Can You Stand the Rain. Those are the songs I can listen to on repeat forever. What signs make you think someone will go on to be successful? They are extremely disciplined, right? They're extremely disciplined. They have standards and rituals, at least what I've learned from those that are successful. They are extremely disciplined. They have rituals and standards. They recognize their feelings, but they do what is required. They say, fuck their feelings. I gotta get up and go to the gym. You know what I'm saying? In order for me to be in shape, I have to get up right now. I don't feel like going. I'm depressed. My mind is on a whole lot of things. I just went through a death in the family. My dog passed away, and you're staying with the process because you understand it was designed to bring you success. Signs to me that somebody's going to be successful, they learn every day. They are reading 30 minutes of something productive every day. Not graphic novels, not, comics, but something that they can benefit from, right? They pay themselves first when they get paid. Robert Kiyosaki taught that in Rich Dad, Poor Dad. When you get paid, find out how much you can pay yourself, put that in savings or save it, set it aside, whatever it is, before you do anything, before you even pay bills. Find out how much you can pay yourself. That to me is a sign of success because obviously you learn how to save money. Then you learn how to invest. You learn the person's going to be successful when they learn financial literacy. And a lot of us weren't really taught how to manage money. So that's why we don't keep it too long when we get it. And I remember being, again, I'm a kid in high school, but of course financial literacy, you can learn this as early as whenever you're able to read. But in high school, with my McDonald's checks, and at first I was getting low checks because I really wasn't getting many hours. But when I did, I spent my money on clothes that fast. You know what I'm saying? And that's really all I did. I would spend my money on clothes. I didn't save anything. I might even spent money on other fast food. I'm going to Wendy's with friends. I'm in high school. But you can learn something as early as, like I said, whenever you learn how to read, learning how to deal with financial literacy. Like Rich Dad Poor Dad has a book for kids and teenagers too. So parents who are watching this, who want to teach their kids financial literacy, you can definitely go on Amazon, go into Barnes and Nobles, wherever you can find books, and look for Rich Dad Poor Dad for Kids so that they can get an understanding as to how to manage money. because this world is only getting bigger in technology. And that's another thing of learning how to be successful, is understanding what is current in technology, where are things going. Because if you can predict what's the next wave, you can get behind it and you can actually make money if you have the time to do so. Learning how to invest and recognizing what's the next big thing. Like people who were onto TikTok before TikTok became very big. People who were onto Instagram before it became very big, other than like Facebook and MySpace and all that shit. Like everything that's like you just have a knack for it. Being recognizing what is going to be major, and then recognizing like, oh, okay, this thing is like it's about to tank, so we got to move it elsewhere. So it's really up to, like I said, it's really up to the person to recognize said thing, knowing what's going to happen. Another thing of like being successful is being mindful of your diet. And I don't just mean what you eat, but what you watch, what you listen to. Because everything you listen to, some of it is meant to stimulate your mind in a way that allows you to think. And then there's shit that you watch and listen to that will cause you to not think. And if you do it for long periods of time, imagine going 2 years without thinking against the person who spent 2 years thinking. Who do you think is going to have an advantage in life? The person that thinks or the person that doesn't? So I started to recognize my diet, what I was listening to, how it made me feel when I listened to it, and recognizing that I'm not able to listen to it for a long period of time. So I started to switch the music that I would listen to. You know, I'm forever connected to hip hop. That from childhood to now, I'm forever going to be connected to hip hop. However, the hip hop that I hear on the radio today is not necessarily something that I feel, you know, like the energy that comes from it. I don't necessarily care too much for it. I am more of a fan of like the likes of Kendrick, Wale, you know what I'm saying? Like almost like neo soul put the hip hop, so like Tribe Called Quest type shit, you know, Logic's first album, Under Pressure, by far one of my favorite fucking albums of all time. You know, I recommend that. Logic's Under Pressure is, like I said, it's solid, and lyrical ability was just everything. Listening to Kendrick's To Pimp a Butterfly, by far one of my favorite albums. But like, I listen to music for people, I don't even know the name of the artist now. Like, I'll listen to Piano Chill on Apple Music. I'll listen to Bossa Nova. I'll listen to, you know, Diane Krall Radio on Pandora. I'll listen to things that allow me to think while I'm doing it. Like if I'm trying to journal, I'm not able to journal and listen to anything outside of instrumentals or like easy listening. When I try to journal listening to, you know, rap, funk, everything that I pretty much grew up on, I'm not able to concentrate as much. And it doesn't mean that I don't ever listen to it. It just means when I'm trying to do shit, when I'm trying to get things done, I tend to listen to silence, nature, or easy listening music. And I'll say that when I listen to everything else that I grew up on, I tend to do it when I'm either in a car going somewhere, or I'm just trying to take my mind off of shit for a second. You know, like sitting in a recliner, sitting on a sectional, and then just play whatever of the playlist that I've made from the R&B, the funk, gospel, you know what I'm saying, hip hop, whatever, you know what I'm saying, pop shit that I grew up on. I'm able to listen to that. But for the most part, watching what's in your diet, not watching the same bullshit. Like growing up, we used to watch a lot of bullshit on like television, man. Like I remember Celebrity Deathmatch, Beavis and Butthead, certain shit on Nickelodeon. You know what I mean? Like there was just a bunch of stuff that you're wondering, like, why are we watching this? Like Cartoon Network, certain shit on Cartoon Network you're watching like this, and it makes no fucking sense looking at it as an adult. But what I can say is like looking back at like the Boondocks, and granted it was satire, but the messages behind each episode was so brilliant by Aaron Magruder, and what he attempted to do with that, pointing out the bullshit that how we carried ourselves, especially in the black community. like the things that are plagued against us, that are riddled in ignorance, that we deem to be just normal. You know what I'm saying? Familiarity that was sent to do that. It was literally designed to make us look ignorant, to not be taken seriously. I love the way that Aaron Magruder did that with the Boondocks. If anyone ever gets a chance to watch, like these Boondocks came out back in 2006. If you go back and watch the episodes, especially like the R. Kelly episode, the Martin Luther King episode, and look at life today, you will see how much that shit is still prevalent in our societies, you know what I'm saying, as far as like how we carry ourselves. But being very mindful of your diet and what you watch, that's another way that you can tell how a person's going to be, say like successful, at least to me. And then just effort, like relentless effort. To find somebody that is totally obsessed, they don't care what a person thinks about what they're doing. They're so laser focused on making this thing work. That to me is a part of being successful, like the signs that somebody's going to be successful. You're people that don't believe in you. And let's be clear, nobody's required to believe in you. Their opinion is just their opinion. It doesn't change what you can do. There are people that sit in the stands and say LeBron sucks. It doesn't stop him from playing basketball the way that he did his entire career. There were people when Michael Jordan was playing, that said that, this guy fucking sucks. The rest is history. You know what I'm saying? Tom Brady sucks. Walter Payton, Barry Sanders, Bo Jackson, you name it, they've said that this person sucks. It's just something that comes with the territory. But it didn't stop them from going out, putting in the effort day to day, practicing, like learning to practice your craft. How you do things, like Tony Robbins has a quote, people are rewarded in public for what they practice for years in private. So learning to practice at your craft, regardless of what anybody thinks about it, just going at it. And not everybody's going to believe in you. You don't have these expectations, these assumptions. Oh, that's my best friend. They're going to believe in me. That's my mom. They're going to believe in me. That's my kid, my girlfriend, my wife. It's not required for them to do it. It's required for you to. So being on the path of success is not for the weak. And understanding that you have to stay the course. You have to focus every fucking day. Every fucking day, just focusing on putting your best foot forward, learning from your mistakes, and remembering to stay on point about what you find to be successful. And part of success is failure. Trying things that don't necessarily are not as effective as other things. And when you recognize that, then you try something different. And I believe that we'll be best for it. Not so much better, we'll be best for it, for doing such. But I mean, those are signs that I believe that a person is going to go on to be successful. I wish everybody success, whatever that means to you. Earl Nightingale has a quote. I love quotes, as you know. Earl Nightingale says that success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. Okay? So if you wanted to be a teacher and you became a teacher, you're a success. If you wanted to be a mother and you became a mother, you became a success. Whatever your goal is, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just recognizing a worthy ideal, whatever it is to you. So wishing everybody success, ignoring the naysayers. Number one, telling you to do that. I believe in you. I'll tell you that right now. Watching this, I believe in you. Be so fucking relentless. Be annoyingly determined to make it in this life, whatever that means to you. You know what I'm saying? Like, just go out and make it. It's in you. You know what I'm saying? It's definitely in you to do so. But, and I say all the time, I'm too stubborn to fail. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna go after what I want. I'm very determined. I'm very stubborn, ambitious, whatever you want to call it. However, we've reached the end of this episode. So I appreciate everybody for checking it out, sending everybody positive and healing energy, as I love to say. But I'm Romy Mac, and I'm out. Peace. Good night, kids.